This August 11th regular meeting of the Tomball ISD Board of Trustees is called to order at 5:32 p.m. For the record, a quorum of the board is present. All trustees are in attendance tonight. The meeting is being recorded, in accordance with Government Code Section 551.128. We would like to welcome those in attendance tonight and those viewing online. The Board of Trustees' role is to set goals, review reports, approve a budget, contracts and personal appointments, and establish policies for the district. It is the superintendent's role and responsibility to handle the day-to-day operations of the district. Policies and procedures are in place to address any concerns. This is a business meeting of the Board of Trustees that is open to the public. However, it is not a meeting of the public. Public participation is limited to designated times during the meeting for citizen comment and for those that have registered to speak in accordance with board procedures. We ask for your cooperation in assuring that the meeting runs in an orderly manner. Board members have received items related to tonight's agenda and have had the opportunity in Monday night's workshop meeting to ask the superintendent questions related to those agendas. Items on the agenda for tonight's meeting may not be handled in the order of the agenda. Additionally, if the board determines at any point during the meeting that it needs to convene in closed session or executive session, the board will do so in accordance with sections 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. At this time, we will have opening remarks by Dr. Pratt, pledges by Mr. McStravick, and mission statement will be recited by Mr. White.
Mr. President, for opening remarks, I've composed a prayer, and for those that are inclined, please join me as we rise in prayer. Almighty God, we ask for your continued blessings on this country, this state, this county, this school district, this sanctuary of freedom, and on all those who proudly call America home and who enjoy the inalienable rights bestowed upon us by you, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Lord, look lovingly on this group gathered here during this meeting as we discuss and deliberate on issues of importance to this school district. Please help us be guided by your Spirit. May we be wise in our discernment, balanced in our judgment, fair in our decisions, and visionary in our planning. Certainly may we always be mindful in our words and our actions on what is best for children in our schools and school district activities. Hear us, Heavenly Father, as we offer our prayers to you, the prayers we have said and the silent prayers of our hearts, through your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
You'll join me in pledge to both the American flag and the Texas flag, and I'll just remind you, there's no comma or pause between one nation under God. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Mission statement. Tomball ISD empowers students to become impactful, contributing citizens by providing innovative, individually rigorous, and personally valuable educational experiences while partnering with the community.
All right, at this time, we will go into public comment on agenda items. And let me read something here real quick before we get started. The board encourages comments about the district from members of the public. However, speakers are required to conduct themselves with proper respect and decorum in addressing the Board of Trustees and in all conduct during a board meeting. Individuals who do not conduct themselves in an orderly or appropriate manner will receive a verbal warning and may be asked to leave the meeting. The board asks that each participant's comments pertain to the agenda item identified on the public comment form and be no longer than 3 minutes. Speakers who are addressing more than one agenda item may have 1 additional minute. However, if agenda items fall into, if there's changes and an individual falls into a non-agenda item, then we will ask you to stop or get back on track. For any member of the public who is accompanied by a translator, your time will be doubled as required by law. We will utilize an electronic timer visible on the right side of the speaker's podium. The first minute will be displayed in green. An audible tone will sound when the speaker has 1 minute remaining, and the display will change to yellow. Another tone will sound when 10 seconds remain, and the display will change to red. At the end of the 3 minutes, an audible tone will sound to end the session. Remember, the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda. In addition, the board has adopted policies to provide prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns for employees, students, or their parents, and the general public. Copies of our district policies and procedures on public comment and filing complaints are available on the district website. Thank you for your concern regarding our district, and we will now hear from you now. At this time, I will ask Mrs. Megan Jasper to come up to the podium.
Sorry. Okay. This is for item V on the, I think it's 5V on the agenda about the superintendent's pay increase. So good evening. My name is Megan Jasper, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I'll be honest, I have a feeling that a decision may have already been made regarding the superintendent's compensation package, but I believe it's still important to speak because the community deserves to know that some of us believe a different choice would better reflect the values of this district. Today, our district is facing an $8 million budget deficit. Families across our community are feeling the effects of rising costs, and employees are feeling it too. Our teachers continue to give more even when they receive less. They pour their hearts into our Tomball schools every day. They arrive before the first bell rings and stay long after the last student leaves. They spend evenings grading papers, weekends planning lessons, and often their own money to provide supplies for their classrooms. Our teachers did not ask to become wealthy. They simply want to be valued. Teachers were told they would receive a 2% pay raise. For many, that sounded like recognition for their hard work and dedication. But when health insurance premiums increased, much of that raise disappeared before it even reached their wallets. The people who spend every day teaching, mentoring, encouraging, and caring for our children saw little to no real financial benefit. At the same time, the superintendent's compensation package is approximately $435,000 a year, plus a car allowance, phone allowance, and other allowances. That compensation exceeds that both of the governor of Texas and what the president of the United States makes. No one is saying the superintendent's job is easy. Leading a large school district is a tremendous responsibility, and this is not personal. But when teachers are struggling to see the benefit of a raise, when families are tightening their budgets, and when the district itself is facing a budget deficit, it is reasonable to ask our highest paid leaders to share in those sacrifices. A compensation freeze will not eliminate an $8 million deficit. We all understand that. But the value of this action is larger than the dollars involved. It would send a message that this board stands with teachers, a message that fiscal responsibility starts at the top, and a message that before asking employees and taxpayers to carry the burden, district leadership is willing to do its part as well. Most importantly, it demonstrates that the board's priorities are aligned with the people who make our schools successful every day. Tonight, I respectfully ask you to consider not just the financial impact of the decision, but the message it sends to every teacher, staff member, parent, and taxpayer in this district. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jasper. We appreciate you coming up, voicing your opinion. At this time, we will now proceed with the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. White, second by Mr. McStravick. Are there any questions of the superintendent?
Hey, Dr. Z, I just want to come back to item F, Foxtrot, on the consent agenda.
Yes, sir.
This is really, to the kind of point you made last night, this is really about employment of Lone Star College.
No, sir. It's actually about, based on new changes in the law, certain administrators, depending on the title, cannot have outside employment unless it's approved by the body whole, by the board. And so in this case, this assistant principal would like to be able to teach a course he's taught in the past. The law's changed, and he would like to continue doing that, has been asked to do that. So it's not just about Lone Star. It could be at A&M, it could be at Sam Houston, or it could be another working with some other entity involving education. So it's outside employment, but in this case, it is Lone Star College.
So we're talking about one particular, each time this comes up,
request.
are we going to
Yes,
have
sir.
an action here?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's the safest way and in full transparency, the way I'd like to handle that, as we always have.
yeah. If we continue to see interest and it's something that you recommend to the board, maybe we could bundle it up so that we're not like, you know, every month doing something in this regard. It just, I'm not opposed to this. I'm just curious about, man, are we going to see this, you know, every month?
Correct. We likely won't, but again, the minute I say that, we may. But this is actually only the second request we've had, but it's a new law. So I think what you're thinking is accurate as far as time well spent. Thank you for that.
And is there a reporting responsibility the district has to comply with House Bill 3372 if we approve this?
Just to ensure that this individual has the prior approval from this board to maintain their job and receive their salary, of course, and have an additional salary revenue.
Yep. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
In this case, if I remember correctly, it was one assistant principal that's teaching an online class, actually.
For Lone Star College. Correct.
Okay, any further discussion? We do have a motion, and it's been seconded. All those in favor? None opposed? Motion carries unanimously. On to the considered agenda. We will now proceed with the considered agenda. Item A, designate a delegate and alternate for the TASB 2026 Delegate Assembly. Do I have a motion?
You're not going to do it from the chair?
I think I will do it
Okay.
from the chair. I'll make it. The motion I'm making is that our delegate be Mrs. Amanda Bass and our backup be Mr. Coco White. And I must say I appreciate them volunteering to do.
Second.
All right, we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Again, I thank you both for stepping up to do that. I didn't twist too much. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, consider approval of a nominee for TASB Region 4, Position B on the TASB Board of Directors. I think that I will also make this motion. I'll make a motion that we support Ann Williams for the position of TASB Region 4, Position B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is that the one that you think is better qualified, Mr. President?
Yeah, actually, both of them, I think, are qualified. Their qualifications are a little bit different. I think that Ms. Williams probably will fit into the TASB role a little better. And again, I think both of them are qualified, would be able to do the job. But one has been, he has been in leadership TASB, so he has some leadership training. He's mainly been in education. He's been a teacher and is also an educator, and she has been on the board for quite some time, and she's got quite a bit of experience. And so it could be a toss-up, but at this point, I think the stronger candidate for the TASB position would be Ann. Any further discussion? We do have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item C, approve the order calling for a board trustee election for positions 1, 2, 3, and 4 to be held on November 3rd, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Bass, seconded by Mr. White. Is there any discussion? All right. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item D, approve entering into a joint election agreement with Montgomery County for the November 3rd, 2026 Board of Trustees election. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. McStravick, second by Mr. White. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item E, approve entering into a joint election agreement with Harris County for the November 3rd, 2026 Board of Trustee election. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. White, second by Mrs. Bass. Any discussion? Barring none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item F, approve the Tomball ISD Student Code of Conduct for the 2026-2027 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Pratt, Dr. Pratt, sorry, and Mr. Beecher. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item G, approve the 2026-2027 Memorandum of Understanding between Tomball ISD and the Harris County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program, JJAEP. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McStravick, second by Mrs. Bass. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item H, approve the 2026-2027 Memorandum of Understanding between Tomball ISD and the Montgomery County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program, JJAEP. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McStravick, seconded by Dr. Pratt. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item I, adopt a resolution identifying hazardous routes that exist within the 2 miles of district campuses. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Beecher, second by Mr. McStravick. Is there any discussion?
Dr. Z, I just want to say thank you to Dr. G for a great transportation update. While this item refers to the hazardous routes in the transportation, 39 new buses, and then what I'm calling 0 vacancies in our drivers to support all the routes, but certainly the ones 2 miles within, our school. So, great job. Keep up the great work. Look forward to hearing all the great things about Stop Finder as the new year begins here.
And on flow.
Yes.
And on flow.
And on flow.
Yes, inflow, on flow.
On flow.
Okay. I'll get it eventually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, a motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item J, approve the 2026-2027 Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System, T-Test, appraisers list. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McStravick, seconded by Mrs. Bass. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item K, approve contract in amount of $240,044.40 with Bays Achievement Center for 2 student day placements using IDEA funding. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McStravick, second by Dr. Pratt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item L, approve a contract in the amount of $344,489.40 with Bays Achievement Center for residential placement using IDEA funding. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Bass, second by Mr. McStravick. Is there any discussion?
Hey, Martha, just real quick, with both of these placements, well, I guess the second one is residential, but the first one, so is our transportation piece on top of that?
Yes.
Right? Because
Yes,
we're
that
providing our own transportation or contracting with somebody else to do it?
Correct.
Okay. With the residential one, do they come home on weekends?
No, not on the weekends. They're there for extended period. They truly reside there.
Okay.
Again, the most restrictive setting and not one that we have often, but it is per the student's IEP.
Got it.
Which is by law.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item M, approve an interlocal contract with Harris County Department of Education for part-time contracted services of physical therapy, occupational therapy, and music therapy. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. White, second by Mrs. Bass. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item N, approve an interlocal agreement with Academic and Behavior Schools West, ABS West, through Harris County Department of Education, HCDE. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. White, second by Mr. McStravick. Is there any discussion?
Dr. Z, what is Harris County Department of Education?
Harris County Department of Education is an entity in Harris County that has a number of actual schools and also a number of programs that they support. They have a lot of specialty schools for students perhaps that are in need of recovery programs, that have had addiction problems or alcoholism. They have a lot of specialty programs for students with high behavioral needs, and they continue to add to their smaller school settings, but they do have a number of schools.
Is it a tax collecting entity? Or they just work through contracts with the different ISDs?
You know, I'm not as versed on, because it is separate and apart. They are, well, you work with them frequently, so.
Yes, they are a tax collecting entity for those in Harris County.
Interesting.
They have a superintendent, and they just operate slightly differently, but it is a.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item O, consider and approve resolution authorizing the Constable of Precinct 4 to conduct a public resale of tax account number 03527507900044, Lot 44, Block 79, Tomball, for $8,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McStravick, second by Dr. Pratt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item P, ratify the superintendent's prior approval of First Amendment to Agreement for Law Enforcement Services between Harris County and Tomball Independent School District. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. White, second by Mr. McStravick. Is there any discussion?
Hey, Martha, thank you for your continued collaboration and partnership with Constable Mark Herman.
Thank you.
At the convocation, it's impressive to see 33 school resource officers present, and the excitement. Not only are they there to sort of serve and protect,
Correct.
but they're also making an impact on our students.
They are.
And their partnership with our teachers and the role they play on those campuses is probably much greater than we ever had originally planned. And so thank you. Fully supportive of this. Let's keep going. I know Captain Muniz is not here, but please pass on a big thank you to him and you and the team. You guys are making a difference, and proud to support this initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. When we partnered with the city, it was easy because we were close. We knew each other well, and they were woven into the fiber of who we were as a district. And I know the board was, if you recall back when, concerned about that. What is that going to look like with an outside entity? And I think that was a perfect example of, you heard the cheers, you heard the applause. They very much are there for a reason, and they know that, but they are there while they're doing their job well. The kids know they're there for the kids. They will do what they need to per their job, but they care about the Tomball community, and I do also appreciate that. So thank you for noting that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right, sit back. This one's going to take a while.
A lot of words.
For the 2026-2027 school year, we delegate contractual authority to obligate the school district under Texas Education Code TEC 11.1511C4 to the superintendent solely for the purpose of obligating the district under TEC 48.257 and TEC Chapter 49, subchapters A and D, and the rules adopted by the Commissioner of Education as authorized under TEC 49006. This includes approval of the agreement for the purchase of attendance credit, netting Chapter 48 funding. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McStravick, second by Mrs. Bass. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right. So item R, we are going to pull from the agenda, and we will, what's that?
We'll bring it back in September.
Yeah, it'll come back later after some additional clarification. So we will skip over item R. Item S, approve the recommendation to award RFP 1000-26 to CFI Mechanical for the replacement of HVAC equipment at Lakewood Elementary and Willow Creek Elementary School with a construction cost of $1,660,105, including a contingency budget of $70,000 using bond 2025 funds. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Bass, second by Mr. McStravick. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item T, approve the use of a competitive sealed proposal as a construction delivery method for the attached bond 2025 projects. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. White, second by Mr. Beecher. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, with the superintendent, Martha, I just appreciate y'all thinking through what is the appropriate methodology to use with these different projects and what synergies you can get out of it, where we can get the best bang for our buck, and at the same time, get the best quality.
Correct.
So appreciate y'all working through this. And I
Thank you.
fully support your recommendation here.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item U, approve the evaluation criteria for use with the request for competitive sealed proposals for the attached bond 2025 projects. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McStravick, second by Mrs. Bass. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I wanted to continue my thoughts that I brought up yesterday with considering the locality, I guess, of the bidders. And I think I want to make a motion, actually, to I checked with Tomball Economic Development Corporation, and they use something in their rubric called utilization of local businesses. And so my thought on that is I want to support our community, our families, and just give, a point or two on that formal rubric. And so I'd like to propose making a motion to put in 5 points for the locality of the business, my thinking being Tomball being the most points possible and greater Houston area being, after that. Of course, if anyone's interested in even discussing that, I would need a second.
We have a motion, needs to be a second? I'll second it to get it on the floor.
Well, clarification, what is the motion?
To amend the evaluation criteria rubric, which has a total of 100 points that businesses would be scored on, to include 5 points for locality. But I'm open to amendments to my motion.
So it'd be a 105-point total?
It might be better to take 5 points from something else to give 5 points to that.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
What would your proposal be?
Y'all might know better than me where it would make sense.
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
Can we do a summary of
Yes.
the current one and then maybe have a discussion?
It's 35 points for the amount, so the price, very heavily weighted, as it should be. Evaluation survey of company references and project contacts is 10 points. History of company performance is 15. Similar company project experience and qualifications is 15. Similar individual personnel project experience and qualifications is 20. And then prior positive experience with the owner is 5.
And last night, Zach, you said that you do take into consideration, although it's not on the point system, you are taking into consideration where they're located in your selection process, right?
Okay, I think it's working tonight. Yes, I did mention that last night. Where we take that into consideration when you look at the current, or what's proposed for the evaluation criteria, is when we take a look at criteria number 4 and 5, where we're looking at the company experience and qualifications and the individual personnel. For us, the reason why it's embedded there is because we're looking for vendors or contractors who are doing business in our local community. They will know the city of Tomball, Harris County, Montgomery County's regulations. They're going to know the permitting processes. And the reason why we incorporate that there is because those pieces are very integral to us maintaining our construction timelines. So we want to make sure we're partnering with contractors, with vendors who know how to work through those systems. So that doesn't necessarily identify or guarantee that a vendor is going to be from Tomball. But what it does is it allows an opportunity for those local vendors to showcase that experience within Tomball, within Harris County, Montgomery County, as a way, they have an opportunity at that point to showcase that. Obviously, if you're a local vendor and you're qualified to do the work that we're looking for, and you're in Tomball, you're going to have a extensive background working with the city, working with Harris County, and that's going to showcase itself in the response in those bid documents.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
So to support the discussion a little bit more, where would similar projects, the 20-point one was called what? Similar what?
Similar company project experience, and then number 5 being similar individual personnel project experience, right? So if you have someone working for that company that maybe was with a different company previously, but they have the experience on that kind of project, those two combined is 35 points. So I'm just proposing breaking 5 of that out of that 35 to, just when I'm looking at a rubric so I can see who gets the full 5 points or who gets 4 points very close, I just would like to see how one might be better slightly than another if all else is equal.
So in your view, what constitutes local? Is that where their P.O. box is? Is that where their company flag post reside? Like, what is local?
I would think our team could assess that in different ways, perhaps.
Okay. Okay.
And they would have that freedom, but
So this point resonates a bit with me. In Aldine ISD, probably been a year and a half ago, there were some concerns by board members because a London headquartered company actually won, it's either a renovation of one of their facilities or multiple, and it caused some concern, which then led to, London, it doesn't seem like they get us. They're not, local. And so, for me, I could probably get there on, some presence in Texas, with a strong indication that, they, are from Texas. So I could support that with a 5-point shift off of the similar project experience. And so move that to 15 and then create a new category for, local. And we'd certainly ask the superintendent to do that. So I would support the motion.
Just to have a clear understanding, are we saying local is Tomball or the county or the state? Or what?
I would say I would give the team the ability to decide how they determine that points awarding, but for me personally, I would think 5 points for business within Tomball ISD, maybe 4 points for greater Houston area, 3 points if it's at least in Texas, 2 points if it's an American company, right? And if it's a foreign-owned company, they get the minimum 1 point. That's how I would.
Jennifer, respect your desire to try to support businesses in Tomball, but given the complexity in building construction these days, the complex systems and trades it takes to put a building together successfully and have it perform, I think the explanation Zach provided in terms of familiarity and the regulations, the codes, is critical to that. And I think that's the way to kind of take this into account into the process. I think an address doesn't really provide that. It's simply one data point, but having that familiarity with projects, with working in the area, I think is much more important. And so I would vote no on this motion.
Mr. Bowles, how would a change in your rubric, as this is being discussed, affect what you do? What would be the effect of that change?
As far as making that change this evening or tabling to come back with a new rubric?
We're going to decide tonight.
No, as far as if this amendment was passed and basically we added the 5-point, what would that do to your rubric? How would you be affected?
From a legal standpoint, it is something that you can consider. It is a criteria that you can designate as a district. I think, again, with our concern in working with our partners with LAN, obviously this was developed with them and working through what they have seen as best practice across all of the projects that they work on across the state with other districts. Our concern would be if we are putting in a very specific designated evaluation criteria that is looking to provide preference for a local Tomball vendor. Our worry will be that those that aren't local will begin to back out. Do we lose competition for those outside vendors because they don't think they're going to be able to get these points? If they're not located in Tomball or the state of Texas, are they going to miss out on 5 points? And in a lot of our bids, you'll see that point spread between number 1 and number 2 can be within a 5-point range. So our worry would be that would skew it in some way, although we do feel very comfortable that we address looking at local vendors in a lens that is captured already within the components of the evaluation criteria.
So we have a motion, we have a second, we have an amended motion and a second.
And a second. However, are we through with discussion? Are there more questions or thoughts? All right. As Dr. Pratt said, we do have a motion and a second, and an amendment and a second. At this time, we will vote on the amendment. And barring any more questions or comments, all in favor? All opposed? Motion does not pass 5-2. Now to vote on the amendment.
Discussion.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, so I'll chime in. I like to, Zach, I like to see the way that you've moved more emphasis onto the cost. I do like that. We did talk yesterday a little bit about the financial stability. As you said, that was coming across in other areas, even though that 5 points was removed from the actual metric here. So I'm very comfortable with the changes that you've made here. Again, I think what Patrick and Amanda both said, I feel comfortable with the making sure that we get the right experience. Sometimes that experience being local is a boon, and I think that would be reflected in the points. I think you're right too that you could disenfranchise some bidders if you try and show that the point spread there. So with respect to the amendment that was offered, so I'm comfortable with the changes that you've made here and can support this recommendation.
So, Ms. Kratke, I appreciate your willingness to actually try to put into the system a requirement for taking into account local businesses. I think we all appreciate that if local businesses can step up and do whatever is being bid, that we would prefer that. I think that at this point in time, the system as it's set up, I believe, is a fair and good system, and I think that we do probably take into account and actually use some local suppliers and vendors at some point. I would like to say, Mr. Wells, that at some point you may take a look at that rubric and reconsider and see if there is a possibility at some point to make an adjustment.
And again, this is for competitive sealed bids. So the other thing that you have to get into, right, would also be what about subs, if you're talking about large projects, Somebody has an address here as the GC on a project. I mean, not everything's going to be a GC competitive sealed bid, but typically they're larger projects. Then what do you do with the subs? So.
Well, it may be the engineer in me, but I seldom make quick decisions, and I think there needs to be more study before we make a decision that could affect whether or not we move forward with a project that is not only by a good supplier, a good vendor, but also falls within our budgets. And so I think it warrants additional research, but I can't make that change at a whim real quick. I have to have more data and more information. Especially when we have a system currently that appears to be working well, that we've been able to fulfill projects, and they've come in good quality, under budget. And so, again, it's not that I'm opposed to it, I just think there needs to be more research, if that makes sense. At this time, I guess, any further discussion? We will now vote on the original amendment.
No, your original motion.
What's that?
Original motion.
The original motion, sorry. Keep me straight. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, item V. Approve the superintendent's salary and benefits for 2026, 2027, and the extension of the superintendent's contract. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move we amend Dr. Martha Salazar Zamora's contract to extend the contract by 1 additional year out to 2031, increase her base salary and longevity pay by 2%, increase her retirement account contributions by a total of $2,000, increase the district's monthly contribution to the Texas Teacher Retirement System for retirement only to an amount of 8.25% of her includable salary, and if the superintendent enrolls in an urgent care plan offered by the district to administrative employees, the district shall pay the annual premium associated with such plan up to an amount not to exceed $720. All in accordance with proposed amendments set forth on the sheet provided to each trustee at their place on the dais.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Beecher, second by Mr. McStravick. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'm going to share my thoughts under the board operating procedure. It's my understanding, a board member should never give a surprise vote, and y'all already kind of know my thoughts, but to go on the record, I am going to vote no on this. As last year, I wanted to explain that does not reflect my pleasure with your performance this year, Dr. Z. I am very pleased with the performance of Team Tomball this year. Just a few positive notes from our performance discussion last night. In a personal way, my own child took AP exams this year and the SAT exam and did phenomenally. I am so grateful for the opportunities for excellence that she's had. I really love the bond updates that your team did. I had requested that we get those quarterly, and your team exceeded excellence by sending them every month. I thought those were so well done, keeping our stakeholders and community apprised of all the bond projects with pictures and details. I think that's so important when the community invested in that. The compensation discussion is a separate issue for me that I take into other accounts outside of the education bubble. I completely understand that our superintendent's compensation package is in line with other superintendents in our area and in our state. I look at other, the companies within our district, what do they earn, in particular other public sector jobs. I know a lot of people understand that my own husband works for the Department of Veterans Affairs, so I'm very knowledgeable on, the leaders at the highest level in that department make significantly less than superintendents. And so I'm kind of just looking at it a different lens. I just wanted to share that it really has nothing to do with you personally. I'm very pleased. Thank you for all your hard work. And it's just, I would totally be on board with 2% as we gave the other admin. It was just the 8% TRS retirement contribution that I couldn't quite get with. And then also the length of the contract being 5 years is not something I can wrap my mind around. Again, an outsider to the education world, I understand that that is not uncommon. Just me personally, I know I've been elected by the voters for 4 years, and so I don't feel comfortable awarding a 5-year contract that's longer than my term I was elected for. And so for those small things, I am going to vote differently than the rest of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Cracky. Any further discussion?
Mark, I just want to say thank you for leading us through the process last night. It was very long, lengthy, but thorough. You allowed us each space to discuss each goal. I feel like it was very fully thought through until 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was happy with the process. I was happy it ended a little earlier than last year. I felt like you were very organized, and I'm happy with what we've laid out, and I just appreciate your time leading us through, keeping us on track. I know it wasn't easy.
I'd like to comment as well that just hearing some of the stories from previous years, I thought, and this being my first superintendent evaluation, I thought it was a very thorough process as well, very detailed. I think Dr. Z, you have a lot to be thankful for, and also to celebrate here in Tomball ISD. And thank you for your leadership in putting a strong team together, building a strong culture that focuses on excellence and puts the emphasis on the kids. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for all you do, Martha. I think in your appraisal, I think that was reflective that we had a very strong year last year. The board is very supportive of you moving forward. You and your team have knocked it out of the ballpark, and I hope that was reflective last night in the evaluation. With respect to compensation, which is a component piece, and Ms. Cracky, you talked through that a little bit, but the market is the market. We are in this market. That's where we have to play. It's where this our leadership, our guidance has to be focused. So, given the market, again, as you pointed out, when you look at and do the deep dive into what different superintendents are making, although when you look at some things that are just reported to TEA, maybe Martha's salary looks a little high, but when you actually do the deep dive and look at the contracts of regional and local superintendents, you see that that's not the case. And we appreciate you being part of this district, having the love and the passion for this district, and it's not all about the money, because I think everyone here knows you could go somewhere else and you could do better on the money side. But there's love and passion here. You've got a great team. You've got a supportive board. We have great parents. We have great students. And you, over the time you've been here, have continued to take this district to the next level, and it's a fun place to be. Maybe, like you said, not every day, but most days. So we appreciate that. I think your raise was in line with what we gave the teachers. The incremental increase on the retirement was not 8%. It was an incremental increase of about 3.6%. We already were paying a component part of that. So the 8.75 we just incremented, or 8.25 we just incremented it up. So again, I mean, I think there was a comment made earlier about budget deficit. We've had that discussion. We know that it's a timing issue. We know that there's not going to be a deficit. I know at least one board member wants to wants to see the money before we say that, but we know that that there's going to be the over 65 homestead payment that's going to come in, and it will take care of the deficit that we have for the 26-27 year. So I'm not worried about that at this time at all. I think it's also important to point out that our teachers, there are adders for our teachers. Not only did we provide the 2% raise, but over the past, is it 4 years now, we have TIA. So we have the incentive program that the state put in place. So our teachers have the opportunity to get bonuses, if you will,
Over
through
600.
that. Yeah, over 600 students, or over 600 teachers now are able to get that, and that's wonderful. And that was a lot of hard work on you and your team's part, and a lot of submissions that were made, and we're at the second iteration of that as well.
Right.
So it's really good, but there's more than just the base salary that our teachers have access to, just like you have access to through your contract. And with respect to the medical, I wanted to point out two things. Number one, we were able, with our teachers, there was an increase in the premium, but we were able to give our teachers, increase the amount of participation that the district pays
Right.
in order for that increase in their premium not to be substantial. At the same time, we also offer to our teachers, and this year now you're having the ability to do that too. For $720, the entire family of a teacher can get on this urgent care, and it doesn't matter whether it's employee only or employee and family. It's $720, and it's an amazing plan that they can utilize. And so I definitely would encourage you to make sure HT is pushing that out, or Claudia, or whoever the appropriate person is for benefits, to push that out and make sure people realize that plan's out there, because I think it's an excellent program, and I think you realize that too, and that's why you want to be part of it.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you for all you've done. If it was all about the money, you wouldn't be here, and I know that you're here for a lot more reasons than that, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate what you do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, all of you. As I said last night, I fell in love with this district many years ago, and that love has not wavered in any way. I am very grateful, very honored to serve with this wonderful board, our team of 8.
If I reflect on our conversation last evening, and it's the same conversation that we've had with you for 10 years, you have a appraisal tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 10 very specific elements, and then it's got a lot of sub-elements to each as well. And I'm just going to go public with it. The review that we provided you last night was your best review that you've had in your 10-year tenure as superintendent.
That's true.
And very proud to share that publicly. And it's an exceeds expectations review. And if you're not aware of it, this board has extremely high expectations for our superintendent. And it may not be publicly known, but we have tough conversations. And the superintendent responds well. And our performance as an A-rated district in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026
Yes.
Is exceptional.
We don't have the straight A, as we say, triple A yet, but we hope to in about 24 hours.
Yeah. So from a performance perspective, that in addition to, certainly a deficit budget, while I may be taking the wait and see approach, I am optimistic, like John was saying, that we'll end up with some semblance of a balanced budget. And so I've set that aside as I've thought about your compensation plan. In the 10 years you've been superintendent, there were your beginning years where you were under market value. When we talk about this is the Houston market, the Texas market, you were substantially below market. And we as a board have recognized your performance and the mindset that I know I have brought to this board and that we have continued to foster is a pay-for-performance type approach. That's a bit of maybe a for-profit environment mindset, but we have those high expectations. And the results that we are seeing as a board in the market that we're in, we believe that the superintendent should be at market. Our superintendent's salary and benefits is less than some of the surrounding districts in our area, but she compensates, so to speak, in her love for what she is doing. The life cycle of a superintendent in the state of Texas is 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Our superintendent has been here 10 years. She has had opportunities to go to some fairly large school districts, I won't name them, to pursue those opportunities, but she continues to stay here in Tomball. I'm going to go a little further and tell you that the message that we convey to the superintendent via her salary and benefits and the extension of her contract also applies to her cabinet. If you look at the tenure of our superintendent's cabinet, it is lengthy. It matters when you have consistency and stability, not only in our board, in our superintendent, but in our cabinet. And that goes further into our campus leadership. And I have seen other districts have disruption, divisiveness. Their superintendents change every 2.5 years. And those students ultimately suffer in a couple years' time. And so, a pay-for-performance approach. So what does this mean to parents? Parents are looking for a safe and secure environment for their child with fundamentally a rigorous education. And that's what our superintendent and her team continue to put forth day in and day out. Our taxpayers are looking for great value. I believe that our lieutenant governor and the Senate and the legislature will take another swing at the bat of reducing our property taxes. But locally, how do we continue the momentum of consistency and stability? And to me, it's super important that we continue to recognize our superintendent with market rate improvements. And so for me, I have no problem paying for performance, knowing that we're going to continue to see the results because we're executing a strategic plan. We're executing to high expectations here in Tomball ISD. And when I'm at the HEB and I'm in the vegetable aisle, this is what I consistently hear, is that folks are moving to Tomball because of the rigor, and they're staying here because of our school system. And so for me, going a little long here, but Martha, I want you to continue to stay in that seat. I want to continue to see Tomball ISD be A-rated in all aspects. And you have my commitment that I will maintain those high expectations and hold you accountable.
I have no doubt.
Yes, because it matters, and our success is very dependent upon you at the top, and ultimately, it results in those student outcomes as they cross that stage. So thank you.
Thank you.
And let's keep going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate the comments. Any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Motion carries 6-1. At this time, we will now proceed with any board comments. Do any board members have comments?
I'll just chime in real quick. I mean, we've had some really great ribbon cuttings, convocation, beginning of school. It's a lot of stuff's been going on, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. Appreciate all you and your team have done to make that. I mean, people really love the convocation. It was
Yes,
good.
it was fun.
We did have a few comments about what's your superintendent wearing, but besides that,
it was a rock concert.
It was a rock concert. But no, appreciate that. I know I was on several campuses recently for other reasons, and the buzz is in the air, the hum's going. So I know we're everybody's clicking and ready for next week with the kiddos showing up. So good luck to everyone here. I know you got a great support team out there that's supporting our campuses. So thank you all for what you do, and look forward to starting the year.
Thank you. So are we. Monday will be here very quickly.
Any other comments? I would just like to tack on then to what John said. You know, we have been quite busy. We've had convocation, we've had ribbon cuttings, and we're opening new schools, and they're absolutely fabulous. It's just mind-boggling. And they've come in under budget.
Yes, they have.
And I think that one of the things that I see in you is your care for the teachers. Especially, you know, we had new teacher breakfast. We had Meet the Superintendent, where you have the new teachers, those that come in, give them an opportunity to meet you, talk with you. It's a great gathering for everyone to get together and meet each other and kind of get the taste of Tomball ISD up front. And then later on, you bring them in and you give them breakfast, and, you know, teachers enjoy that. So I appreciate you taking the time and caring to do that, and to do that with all your staff. And much appreciated.
Thank you.
Barring any other comments, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. White, second by Mr. McStravick. All in favor? We're adjourned.